So my wife and I just met. We are going over all of our assets. We're talking about different factors with the $5 million we have available on the 50 acres that we purchased, which is these 50 acres of corn. And I want to share all of the things that are showing me there's a negative headwind in the market, meaning what are things that are getting in the way of success, of financial success, of economic stability, and what the average person can do around that. And I also want to go into the tailwinds, the things that are pushing us forward. So we're going to try and cover a couple different topics. One, that are sort of pissing me off, that do have a negative impact on everything. But then two, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some really big highlights right now that are providing us those tailwinds of where we're going to be going with the market. So first things first, our boy Trumpsky, the man, the myth, the dude who claims he loves small government, the dude who purchased shares in Intel, the dude who's got huge impact on what people say on media, the dude who wants to control TikTok, the dude who claims to be in favor of states' rights, but then sends the National Guard in and ignores the governors. That dude puts out a tweet yesterday, old Trumpsky. Let's put a ban. Let's create a vegetable oil embargo. So when we look at these tweets, and that tweet, just think about this, or that might have been something he posted on fake social. When we're looking at this, or true social, when we're looking at this and we're really thinking about like an embargo on vegetable oils, like he's mad, he's triggered about soybeans and things like that with China. You know, he's looking at China and he's trying to leverage his discussions. And what's interesting is that I actually think the vegetable oil embargo is related to the catastrophic drop that we saw this past Friday in the crypto market and on the actual financial market. When we're looking at things, okay, and we think about there's a government shutdown. So that's a really, really big negative. Trumpsky hasn't been involved with resolving the government shutdown because he's been campaigning to win the Nobel Peace Prize because he likes participation trophies. So he's been ignoring this government shutdown, which involves hundreds of thousands of government workers who are now not getting paid and they're not investing in the market. And so now the Nobel Peace Prize drama is over. The opposition group from Venezuela, the female leader there, got it, and she dedicated her trophy, or Nobel Peace Prize, to the old Trumpsky. So maybe he feels a little bit better, and now he can come back and resolve this government shutdown. And so what's interesting with all of this is that the tweets or the posts that he puts on Truth Social on Friday, right, we saw this immediate pullback and drop. And there's a very clear connection to his posts and insider trading with what's called leverage perpetuals, okay? So about 5% of the crypto market plays these leverage perpetual games, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Things dropped because he posted this tweet. People were putting, one person in particular was putting huge amounts of money on crypto dropping, especially coins like SUI and things like that. Those things drop, the market drops, crypto market drops. Within 2 days, it's semi-restored, right? But then he puts out a tweet or a post yesterday about this embargo on China. So now there's a little bit of what's going to happen. Are we not bringing in soybeans, or what's our relationship and the trade war is going to go to next? So we have all of these things just causing massive amounts of confusion and frustration because no one really knows what's happening. It's just like a constant circle of chaos, circus-style chaos. It's a roller coaster, and we all knew this was going to be the way. And I'm starting to wonder, like, at least in 21 and 22, actually in going back to the crypto, the loss of what people went through in crypto on Friday was the highest loss that people have had since 2018 and 2021. And in 2021, that loss was related to FTX collapsing. So a lot of this stuff is, like, somebody should be held accountable for it, but they're not going to be. because we love small government apparently, but actually we don't. We just love insider trading and absolute ridiculousness. So where am I going with all this is that there's a lot of gray and like big question marks. Is there going to be an AI bubble, right? So on Friday, the VIX spiked 30%, which is a huge, it's like a top 40 spike that it's ever had, okay? There's concerns over an AI bubble. But then the week starts on Monday. It's pretty good. People thought it was going to be Black Monday, right? They thought it was going to be crazy. Tuesday comes around, not bad. AMD announces that Oracle's going to buy 50,000 chips for inferencing, okay? And then we're starting to see things come to light where we're like, all right, Goldman Sachs just reported a crazy quarter, a crazy year already. They're seeing an insane improvement or increase in mergers and acquisitions. We're starting to see a lot of companies are really becoming stable and growing. And a lot of this just goes back to the AI industry, right? A lot of this just goes back to companies running well, okay? And when we think back to people like someone like Peter Lynch, who constantly has said, and Tom Lee says this as well, you need to be able to explain your company that you're buying to an 11-year-old in 30 seconds. And if you can do that, then you're buying a good company. And when we look at all the chaos that is occurring, if we can sift through all those things and also learn that some of the lessons, like the leverage, perpetual leverage that these guys are using because they want to get rich quick, and we're going through like the penny stocks plummeting and stuff like that, it comes back to you've got to play the long game. And so some of the cool tailwinds right now is that even if we're going into like a 2018 drop, okay, so 2018 is, I'm believing that this is going to be a 2018-esque situation that we're dealing with. But even with that being said, okay, let's say the next 10 weeks sucks. It's just creating a buying opportunity for us to play the long game. It doesn't change the fact that AMD just got 50,000 chip order from Oracle. It doesn't change that AMD is working with OpenAI. It doesn't change that Amazon is doing some really, really cool stuff. It doesn't alter the fact that Google is dialing in their company further and further and further, and Meta is they're positioning themselves in this AI race, right? It doesn't negate any of that stuff. And so when we're really looking and we're wading through this, even if a 2018 account happens, which I think we are seeing now, is like the market comes up and then it drops, and we're seeing lower lows and lower highs. You know, we still might see a 7,000 S&P by the end of the year. But even if we don't see that, and we do see more of a 2018, I believe the tailwinds that we're going to have playing here, and I wanted to bring this up, was someone like Larry Fink. Guys, the CEO of BlackRock, talked about how everything is starting to be tokenized on Wall Street. That's why someone like, if we pay attention to the big banks like Goldman Sachs, they're talking about greater mergers and acquisitions, but two, their products are starting to grow and their product offerings are starting to grow because they're realizing that they're going to have to make some type of stable coin, likely on Ethereum, and they're likely going to tokenize all of their assets at some point in the near future, which is going to make their products more diverse. So we're seeing those things come to light, and those positionings, these companies are positioning themselves to put themselves into a point where, as AI continues to grow, they can make good adaptations. As the market and the financial market gets more involved with stable coins and crypto, they are in good position to make those decisions and to alter and to move assets around. And so for me, yes, this stuff's chaos. Yes, it drives me nuts. It actually pisses me off. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that you got to be in good ETFs, right? So you got to be in VOO, or you got to be in, for me, SPMO or SCHD. You got to have good companies that you're investing in, like Amazon, like like Meta, like AMD, like SoFi, which I've talked about in the past. And then you've got to be making good decisions as far as how you're saving your money and how you're positioning that money so you can move that around when you need to, and you're in a stable environment so that you can pay your bills and make more money than you spend. Okay, so a lot of this stuff, yes, it pisses me off, but in all reality, when we really wade through everything, it still comes back to just paying attention to what you can impact and just paying attention to everything around the companies that you value and the companies that you see as going in a strong direction. So hopefully this government shutdown ends soon. I wanted to sort of rant a little bit on this. Is like, as far as the government shutdown is concerned, it's an interesting aspect where, dude, if they don't figure this stuff out and if they don't clear this, we're going to be in a bad spot if they don't re-up the government subsidies for healthcare. If they don't re-up that, everybody's healthcare is going to like double, triple in price. Like genuinely, it's going to happen. So stuff like that, when you see the insider trading going on and you see the impact that this dude has on the market, you know, just finagling things and the constant backdoor deals that he has, and then he's not willing to have, you know, some type of healthcare subsidy to keep healthcare costs lower. They don't give a shit about you as a normal person. They're just trying to manipulate the market so that they can line the pockets of all their close friends. It's just the way it is. So I did want to rant a little bit on that. And it's like, you look at it, this dude's supposed to be like laissez-faire, hands off, free market. Bullshit. It's insider trading. Hands off. Why is a government owned part of Intel now? Why is, you know, states' rights. Oh, well, why is he in putting the federal government in all these different places? And then you have things like, you know, TSA workers aren't even getting paid. That's going to have a negative impact. So like, there's just a lot of shit going on that's really, really suspicious and really annoying. So hope this helps somebody out there. There's a lot of headwinds right now, but there's still a lot of tailwinds. And at the end of the day, just ignore the politics because it's all a bunch of bullshit. Until next time, peace.